Hello everyone, my name is Meghan LeVota. I am a ENFJ and I'm an EIE in socionics. That means I use extroverted feeling and then introverted intuition and then extroverted sensing and then introverted thinking. In Dave's Superpowers whatever system, I am a FE-NI type. Pretty much FE and NI is my bitch. And so what I'm about to do today is I'm about to go to 16personalitiestests.com. Wait, no, it's www.16personalities.com/free-personality-test. And we're about to see what this says. You know, I'm just gonna keep an open mind. It says that it takes less than 12 minutes. It says to answer honestly, even if you don't like the answer. And it says to try not to leave any neutral answers. And so, you know, I've got an open mind. I love personality tests. We're just gonna see what this says. Okay. And we're gonna walk this through together. The first question, you find it difficult to introduce yourself to other people. Agree or disagree? So here's the thing with me, is that I do not find it difficult to introduce myself to other people if I have a reason to be talking to them. That makes just a huge difference for me. For example, whenever I worked as a journalist, I was great at networking because I felt like I'm supposed to be here, I'm a journalist, I'm looking for stories. That was like my motive. And I was like, oh hi, like I report on entrepreneurs, tell me about your company. Like, oh, just trying to connect with you. Like, that was great for me. But whenever I went to these like networking events I used to go to these like art talks with coffee in like the mornings, and I would stand around and I would just not know how to introduce myself because everyone already had their friends and I just didn't introduce myself. But you know, if I was like with a friend and then they have another friend, I would be like, oh hi, by the way, my name's Megan. So by that token, like, no, I don't have a difficult time introducing myself, but on that same note, like, I'm not just gonna introduce myself to anyone. So I'm gonna go ahead and say slightly disagree. The next question is, you often get so lost in thoughts that you ignore or forget your surroundings. Yes. I don't know. Let's see. I definitely am not great at understanding my surroundings, but I'm not the sort of person to completely zone out when in a conversation with another person. I can zone out whenever I'm not with another person. And as you can see, I think this shows extroverted feeling being strong, where like the way I extrovert is with people. If there's another person in the room, I'm not gonna zone out. But if there's not another person in the room, then I'm definitely gonna zone out and forget my surroundings. And so I'm gonna go with slightly agree. The third question, you try to respond to your emails as soon as possible and cannot stand a messy inbox. No, my inbox is really, really messy. I organize it by, lately I've been awaiting certain emails, and so I have been checking more often, but I also weirdly like don't want to respond right away because I don't want it to look like I'm just like waiting by the computer or the phone. And you know, sometimes I will need to mentally prepare or think through what I'm gonna say, and so I like immediately star it, and I star the things that I know I'm gonna need to respond to. But I'm gonna have to say disagree on this. I'm not gonna say strongly disagree, but I'm gonna say in the middle disagree. I can stand a messy inbox. Now, I feel like, I don't know if this question is a little outdated, but in regards to text messages, I do respond very quickly. And I don't know if this is trying to guess at my extroversion or guess at my P or J-ness, but it really depends on the situation. With text, I do tend to respond quickly unless I, you know, have multiple texts that I'm trying to get back to. And I feel like maybe if I my personal email is also different than like a work email, but even with work email, I've never been, you know, that organized. I never delete any of my emails. So, okay. The next question is, you find it easy to stay relaxed even when there is some pressure? No, I don't find it easy to relax. And it's funny, I was taking this test with my INFJ girlfriend earlier, and she was like, well, you do seem to be in a high pressure environment and you do seem to be more relaxed than some people. And I was like, well, I would never describe myself as someone who was relaxed, but I will say that, you know, I probably, what my idea of what pressure is probably different from somebody else's idea of pressure. And so I'm going to say disagree on that one in the middle. Then this next question says, you do not usually initiate conversations. I'm going to go ahead and all the way disagree with that. That is a no-brainer. I definitely initiate conversations. So this next question says, you rarely do something just out of sheer curiosity. I'm going to go ahead and say middle disagree on that. I do so many things out of sheer curiosity. I don't even really understand that question. Like, does anyone not do things out of curiosity? I feel like they're trying to guess if I'm a P or something, but I don't think anyone does something like, I mean, like, curiosity, like, is a reason. Like, when you say sheer curiosity, like, what does that mean? Like, I'm very, very curious, but I'm not necessarily curious about things that I would find, like, trivial, that, like, I'm not going to apply to my life later on. So I'm gonna say middle disagree, because I would guess that perhaps some, like, actual, like, P types do things out of sheer curiosity and then discard whatever they just learned more often than me. So, okay, this is a tough question. The next question is, you feel superior to other people. Now, for one, I don't even know why they're asking this. I don't understand how that has anything to do with functions or personality type. I don't know if they're trying to say that's a thinker thing or what, or I don't know if this question is going to say that ENFJs feel superior. So, to answer this question, I'm going to say slightly agree, because I don't think that I am more worthy of love. I don't think I'm more worthy or more capable than anyone else, but, you know, I do have confidence, and I do, you know, feel like I work harder than a lot of people in some ways. I feel like I'm more driven than a lot of people. I feel like I take more initiative than a lot of people. And so that's just based on my life experience of sometimes people I'm around. I feel like I'm picking up the slack. I feel like I'm doing more, that sort of thing. I don't think that I just, like, am intrinsically superior. I just think that, you know, sometimes I've taken actions that some people haven't taken, and kind of objectively. And that's, like, a hard question too, because how I feel superior is sort of based on how I was raised and, like, the environment I grew up in. Like, my high school and, like, middle school and elementary school, I always, like, tested above average IQ, above average for every standardized test. And so by that I could point to and say, oh yeah, based on that metric, I'm, like, more superior. But, like, what does superior even mean? I hate that question. Okay, the next question. Being organized is more important to you than being adaptable. No, like, being adaptable is very important to me. So I'm gonna say middle disagree. They're probably trying to guess if that is a J or P thing, but, you know, I care about moving forward. So I think that I am not as naturally skilled at being adaptable. I made a video about this before, where I feel like I'm more, like, agile and forward thinking than I am adaptable in a situation full of gray. I don't do well in shades of gray. But even when I am organizing my life, like, I try and leave it a little bit room for interpretation. I'm trying to hit, like, a bullseye, but it's just, like, as long as I get to the bullseye, that's fine. Like, I'm very, like, one-track mind, like, trying to get to the bullseye, but, like, the steps along the way, I don't really care, as long as I get to my end goal. And I would say that most NJs probably agree with me. So yeah, most NJs are pretty agile in that way. And so probably most NJs would agree with me and say that they pretty much value being adaptable more than organized. The word organized just doesn't have that great of a connotation. And the way this question's phrased, I can't really imagine anyone wanting to say that, yes, being organized is more important than being adaptable. Nobody wants to not be adaptable. But anyway, the next question. You are usually highly motivated and energetic. I'm gonna say in the middle, yes, I am usually highly motivated and energetic. Okay, this question I absolutely hate. It says, winning a debate matters less to you than making sure no one gets upset. I firmly believe that it is really not in my control how somebody responds to me. What is in my control is making sure that I am being respectful. If somebody gets upset because they disagree with me, that's not my problem. Although, I care about truth. I don't care about winning. And so I'm definitely going to say yes, I agree to the statement because yeah, I'm going to say slightly yes. Because yeah, I don't care about winning a debate, but I will not budge on truth just because somebody is getting upset. And this has more to do with TI. This is like a TI and FI sort of thing. I feel like it's judging for, which is like hard because a lot of FJs are going to be like, well, yeah, I don't want people to get upset, but there's only so much that you can control in that regard. Like, as long as I'm being respectful, like, I don't know, like, I don't really care about a debate for the sake of winning, but I do care about a debate for the sake of mutual understanding and for the sake of truth and, like, coming to a conclusion together. And, like, I am totally willing to get uncomfortable and challenge each other. So, okay, the next question. You often feel as if you have to justify yourself to other people. I'm gonna go ahead and say in the middle, agree. I do this a little bit less now, but this has always been something that I've struggled with, feeling like I have to make excuses or justify myself because I'm always concerned with how other people are gonna view me and stuff like that. More than average, I am concerned with how I come off, and so I'll like kind of over-explain. So this says your home and work environments are quite tidy. I'm gonna go ahead and say disagree. I kind of suck at being tidy. I know where everything is, and whenever somebody comes over, I'll like try and make sure it's not disgusting. But like, I'm the sort of person that will like do the dishes like 3 days after I should have done them, or like have a pile of clean clothes on the floor, and like I know what's clean and what's not. And this is why I, I used to test as a P, and I probably will test as a P in here, because whenever you talk so much about your physical environment of being tidy and organized, like I am so in my head organizing what my next move is. Literally like NJ's, like I'm making moves. I am thinking about what matters, and making sure that my physical environment is tidy is always at like the absolute bottom. Like what matters to me is helping the people I care about and, doing a good job in whatever work I'm doing, making an impact in other people's lives. Like whether or not my clothes are folded doesn't make an impact in anyone's life. So, okay, in this question, you do not mind being at the center of attention. I'm gonna go ahead and say slightly agree. I don't mind, but I also like, okay, LOL, I'm a Leo or whatever. People think I seek out attention, but I really don't really like being the center of attention, but I would say I don't mind it. I don't mind talking or being, the voice for things if it needs to be, but my motive is never to be the center of attention. I just am a natural leader, and so it kind of happens. Okay, this question. You consider yourself more practical than creative. I'm going to go ahead and all the way disagree on that. I am way more creative than I am practical. Okay, this next question. People can rarely upset you. This, I pretty much want to just smash my computer, because this has more to do with like mental health than like whether you're a feeler or a thinker. People can rarely upset me. What does that even mean? And it's also like assuming that feelers are more easily upset than thinkers, when in so many ways, because thinkers a lot of times can have, you know, their feeling in a very like inferior, weak position, or a thinker can, you know, deal with mental health issues and be like easily upset by people. And I just don't think it's fair to equate the value of feeling to whether or not people can upset you, because in many ways an INFP or someone who uses introverted feeling can someone who uses introverted feeling might say, yeah, like F everyone, I don't care what people think. Or like an INTP or an ENTP that uses like lower down extroverted feeling might feel other people's actions affecting them more. So I'm gonna go ahead and say slightly disagree, and only because I'm being really aggressive in this test, because I'm really trying to test who I am now and not think about all the times that people have upset me before. Because I have done a lot of work on myself and I'm not easily upset by things the way maybe I used to be, because I have worked on it. So I'm gonna say slightly disagree. It takes a lot for somebody to really upset me, and it's probably because I love them, if that makes sense. So okay, your travel plans are usually well thought out. I'm gonna say slightly disagree. I really don't like to have itineraries or schedules. I like to go with my gut in those sort of scenarios, because whenever I do travel, my main priority is relaxing. My main priority is, either relaxing or learning or spending time with friends or seeing a community, whatever I'm traveling for. And that always takes precedent. I'll do whatever I can to do that. But at the same time, my plans are thought out enough to the point where like, I travel because I want to be like a bird or a fly on the wall of wherever I'm going. Like, you can't really plan those sort of things either, because it doesn't even really make sense to plan so much, because you aren't going to know what you feel like doing until you get there, at least for me. So another question is, it is often difficult for you to relate to other people's feelings. That one I'm going to say all the way disagree. We all know that I find it easy to relate to other people's feelings. This question, your mood can change very quickly. I'm going to go ahead and say in the middle, disagree. Now, again, I feel like they're trying to test feeler and thinker, and this just isn't true. I feel like introverted feeling is more likely to, or like an FP is more likely to maybe change their mood, or a TP might be more likely to change their mood. Where like for me, it feels like a gradual build up one way or the other. Like, I don't think I'm like that sporadic about my moods. I pretty much feel like I always know what I'm feeling, and I'm very much in control of what I'm feeling, because, you know, God damn it, like, it's my dominant function. Like, I live in the realm of feeling. I understand it, and I don't like the way that this quiz is very, I think, thinker biased in a way, where, like, they're equating having a difficulty with emotions as being a feeler, which isn't true, you know. Anyway, you get the idea. The next question, in a discussion, truth should be more important than people's sensitivities. My question, or my thought, oh my God, I'm gonna tear my hair out. Why not both? Why does truth and sensitivity, like, I don't see those as an either or. I will never, ever, 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 ever bend the truth for someone's sensitivities. Absolutely not. That's not helpful for anyone. But also, I am not, like, you can be, I hate this question. You can say the truth without being an asshole. Like, hello, that's possible. I'm gonna go ahead and say slightly agree, because the fact is that I will never, ever, ever, ever bend the truth for someone's sensitivity. If somebody is sensitive, then I might just not want to talk about it. But you know what? Why are we not regarding the sensitivities as true? Why is that not part of the truth? So anyway, I'm going to say slightly agree, because I do slightly agree, and because I'm trying to avoid saying the middle. Anyway, the next question is, you rarely worry about how your actions affect other people. I'm going to go ahead and say disagree on that one, because I do always think about how my actions affect other people. I'm going to go ahead and say all the way disagree on that one. So this question, your work style is closer to a random energy spike than to a methodical, organized approach. Absolutely agree. I definitely just feel random energy spikes. And a lot of people think that that's NE, and you know what? It's not NE all the time. Like, I'm sure some NE users can do this, but you know, for me, with such bad introverted sensing, I don't have a strong handle of, you know, my body making it go. Slow and steady wins the race. Like, I am motivated by the goal, by the outcome, and it depends on how much I care about it. And that is how my energy spikes are going to work. I don't work well with methodical approaches at all. I'm definitely a sprinter. Okay, this next question, you are often envious of others. I'm gonna all the way disagree. I've never really struggled with this, and I don't see how this has anything to do with personality either, at all. So, okay, the next question, an interesting book or a video game is often better than a social event. So, I'm gonna say slightly disagree on this, but the thing is that not all social events are created equal. I have to care about the people. I have to care about who I'm going to see. But in general, social events with people I care about are going to be more important than an important book or an interesting book or whatever. I leave reading and interesting books to the times whenever I'm free, whenever I don't have social events to see, but at the same time, I won't plan social events every night because I need to make sure that I have time to. I mean, I don't really play video games, but I'm equating interesting book or video game to watching YouTube or listening to a podcast or listening to music, those sort of things that I do in my alone time. Yeah, whenever I'm tired, they are more fun than a social event. But in general, I like doing things, yes. The next question. Being able to develop a plan and stick to it is the most important part of every project. I'm gonna all the way disagree on that. I do not like that. And again, I think that they're trying to test P and J, but to me, I think that this is way more extroverted thinking than anything else. Because for me, once I know my why and once I know my goal, that is the important thing. I don't like to, it just seems stupid and seems silly to me to plan out step by step whenever so much is unknown. I like to watch things unfold. I like to watch things creative ideas be birthed, whatever. And I like to listen to my gut and stay authentic. So that's what I do. The whole idea of having a 5-year plan or whatever, it just doesn't work to me. Whenever I stick with just my introverted intuition, I listen to what it says and I listen to my inner wisdom and I have it guide me and I trust. It works better for me to just trust where my NI is going. So this question, you rarely get carried away by fantasies and ideals. What is it? Why are you saying carried away? What's wrong with ideal or fantasies and ideas? What do you mean carried away? See how there's bias in here? I'm going to go ahead and say disagree in the middle. I wouldn't say all the way disagree because I do think that sometimes people are not down to earth enough. But I don't know what you mean by saying carried away. The next question, you often find yourself lost in thought when walking in nature. Again, I don't know what that is going to have to do with, what possible personality letter has to do with that, but I'm going to say slightly agree. But honestly, who wouldn't say, sure, yeah, I do that sometimes. Like, who wouldn't say that? Like, no, I don't get lost in thought at all. I am always just staring right at the tree. And I'm always just like looking at that hunk of tree. Like, what? Like, do you really think that sensors like look at this and they're like, nope, I've never been lost in thought. I'm always sensory. I'm always using my 5 senses. No, that's not how it freaking works. And do you really think that extroverts like are like, nope, I never get lost in thought. I'm always out here. Like, this is ridiculous. Okay, the next question is, if somebody does not respond to your email quickly, you start worrying if you said something wrong. I'm gonna go ahead and disagree on that. And I'm being picky here because, like, you said email, and I never worry about emails. But with text messages, I do kind of worry like this with text messages if the person normally responds a lot, or if they notice they could have responded, but whatever. And, you know, if this is like someone that I'm flirting with or trying to talk to or whatever, then yeah. Or if I said something kind of, I don't know, harsh, then like, yeah. Again, like, I feel like this is trying to test if someone is a thinker or a feeler. But feelers aren't just gonna worry that they did something wrong with anything. Feelers are gonna know, like, oh, I said something that might have been offensive. And then they're gonna be worrying then, or I said something risky, or I said something that made me vulnerable. That's when they're gonna worry. They aren't gonna worry just all the time. Like, anyway. Feelers are more emotionally literate to know that, you know, sometimes people are busy, sometimes they're not busy. They aren't just gonna all of a sudden think that it has to do with them. So, next question. As a parent, you'd rather see your child growing up kind than smart. Now, I think this question is pretty decent at guessing if you're a thinker or feeler, because it really is asking an either or. Where, like, for me, I'd say, well, I want my child to be kind and smart. But I'm gonna say slightly agree for the kind, because I do really think that. And also, I think it's smarter to be kind, is what I think. So, next question. You do not let other people influence your actions. I'm gonna go ahead and agree with that in the middle. I almost wanted to say all the way agree, because I'm very just like trailblazer, like wanting to do my own thing. That's how I am, just like deep down. But at the same time, like, yeah, I let people influence me because I talk to people and I want to be influenced by good opinions, and I want to be influenced by good people and by communities. And I don't like the way that's phrased, because it's like saying it's a bad thing. And whenever you phrase something as though it's a good or bad thing, then people are going to answer based on what they think makes them sound good or bad. And again, I hate this test. The next question. When you sleep, your dreams tend to focus on the real world and its events. What? Like, what? I'm gonna say, what? Like, no dream is the real world. And also, I've had, like, normal dreams and weird dreams. I'm gonna say slightly disagree. Okay. The next question. It does not take you much time to start getting involved in social activities at your new workplace. I'm gonna say slightly disagree. I've yet to have a workplace where I really felt like I fit in. So it depends on the people. I'm not just like, just because I'm an extrovert and a feeler doesn't mean that I'm gonna like everyone that I come across, and I'm gonna wanna be social with everyone I come across. If I don't like someone, or if we don't vibe, I'm not gonna push it. Okay, the next question. You are more of a natural improviser than a careful planner. I'm gonna say slightly agree. I like to improvise things, but I'm not that great at adapting, but I'm also not that careful of a planner. So I'm great at, the thing with NJs that you're gonna start to see a theme is that I'm good at executing tasks that I've set my mind to, and that's where the J part really comes out. But it doesn't take much, like, it's not like a planning thing. It's different than like using introverted sensing, or at least maybe this is just my interpretation of the word planning. Anyway, The next question, oh my God. This next question, I think I hate more than any other question. It says, your emotions control you more than you control them. Well, bitch, who is you? Who is you? The question is just like making it sound like you is your mind and that your emotions is like this other thing. Like, imagine if the question said, your negative thoughts control you more than you control them. Your thoughts? Like, I'm in control of my emotions because, motherfucker, I'm a feeler, and that's my land. That is where I shine. I control all things feeling. That's what being an ENFJ is. I control my feelings more than most people. And so, but when I say I'm talking about my soul. I don't try and use my mind to control my emotions. My mind does not control my emotions. Meghan LeVota, control my emotions. So, I'm gonna say neutral because fuck that question. Because, oh my God, so many thinkers are like, so like in control of their emotions more than they know. And like, if the question said, your negative thoughts control you more than you control your thoughts, I would have said, yes, that is true. As a feeler, I have a hard time controlling my thoughts. So, but I know what this question's getting at, and I just want to have a big middle finger up at that question because it's so inaccurate. So anyway, we're moving on. So the next question, you enjoy going to social events that involve dress up and role play activities. I don't really know how that has to do with personality again. I used to as a kid, so I'm gonna say slightly agree, but I don't really know. The next question, you often spend time exploring unrealistic and impractical yet intriguing ideas. Again, a big F you to this question. Intriguing, I don't know. Nothing that I do is, in my mind, unrealistic or impractical at all. Do thinkers think that it's impractical? Yes. So I'm gonna just give this a big fat disagree because I'm mad that it exists. Because how dare you say that anything innovative or intriguing or anything in the world of NFs is impractical? Because have you seen NFs like get their shit done? Have you seen them get their art out there? What do you even mean by impractical? Unrealistic? Like what? Like no. I believe that me being an NF and me sharing my positivity and my creativity is completely possible. So fuck you for that. The next question. You would rather improvise than spend time coming up with a detailed plan. I'm gonna go with slightly agree. Yeah, I really hate details. So this is less because I'm such a great improviser and more because I don't really like coming up with a detailed plan. So yeah. This next question, you're a relatively reserved and quiet person. I'm gonna say disagree, but in the middle disagree. I think I can be reserved. I'm definitely not quiet. I'm very loud, and I can talk over people and interrupt people and just be very gregarious. But when it comes to being reserved, it does take me a while to open up to people, I would say. This question says, if you have a business, you would find it difficult to fire loyal but underperforming employees. This is the hard part. I'm gonna probably go with slightly agree, but for me, I would care more about, I would need to be making sure that I was giving training opportunities, giving opportunities for growth, and the loyalness wouldn't matter to me, but I would not be quick to fire people. I would be making sure that there was that my system was fair and everything like that. But yeah, that's definitely hard for me. I'm very loyal and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you gotta do what you gotta do. So I would definitely be able to turn that face on, and I would trust that I had handled the situation respectfully and did the best that I could do. And as long as I know I did that, I'd probably be pretty indignant about it, honestly, if I knew that I did all I could and that I was very communicative and kind, stuff like that. So this next question is, you often contemplate the reasons for human existence. I'm gonna go with all the way agree. That one's really easy. The next question is, Logic is usually more important than heart when it comes to making important decisions. I'm going to all the way and go and say disagree. Very much disagree. I think that if you use logic to make all of your decisions, the thing is that since logic is, impersonal, then if you applied, technically, if you applied logic to every situation, no matter who you are, then you should get the same outcome. And so if everyone uses logic, the way I view it is that if everyone uses logic, then everyone's going to be doing the same thing. It takes all the uniqueness out of it. I want to choose my heart when making decisions and then apply logic to how I execute whatever I'm trying to do with my heart. That's how I operate, at least. The next question is, keeping your options open is more important than having a to-do list. Now, I hate this because I like to keep my options open and I have a to-do list. I don't understand why this is either or. So I'm going to probably go slightly disagree. I probably am going to err a little bit more on the side of a to-do list in this question because I like keeping my options open. I'm kind of doing that right now with freelance writing and a bunch of stuff like that, but it's been hard because I want to know that something for sure is going to fill my days, and I don't want to just keep having my options open to the point where I'm not committing to any possibility or anything. That can be sort of overwhelming for me sometimes. To have too many options open because then I don't know what to focus on. So with my to-do list, I like knowing what I'm supposed to get done that day, so I at least feel like I did something productive that day. The next question is, if your friend is sad about something, you are more likely to offer emotional support than suggest ways to deal with the problem. I hate this question because why is emotional support not a way of dealing with the problem? And also, why not both? Por qué no los dos? I always suggest a way to deal with the problem. In fact, I have a hard time just sitting with the emotion the way that a lot of introverted feelers want people to do. Extroverted feeling is about, let's see how we can make this situation better. But that's why TPs, you will stereotypically think of TPs as being very kind of nitpicky and being oh, you should do this. Have you considered this? Have you considered this? Have you considered this? Kind of skip over the emotional support part and want to solve your problem like you're a puzzle. I think that FJs, they won't try and view you as a puzzle, but they are definitely trying to figure out can I help you move this along? So I'm going to say slightly agree because I never forget the emotional support, but I also want to help you solve the problem, and I'm not interested in sitting around watching you mope if you aren't going to try and solve your problem. That's something definitely about me. So, okay, this next question says, you rarely feel insecure. I hate this question because any type can feel insecure. I feel like I feel less insecure than most people. I don't really know how to measure that because I think on one hand, I share whenever I feel insecure, or a lot of people don't share that they're insecure, and so it can be hard to measure. I don't know if it is possible to measure how insecure everyone feels, and I don't know if this correlates to a type. And I also feel like your mindset has to do with how willing you are to admit how insecure you are. I'm gonna say agree, the middle, agree. The next question is, you have no difficulty coming up with a personal timetable and sticking to it. I'm going to absolutely disagree with this because time is an illusion. Time is so hard for me. Time will fly by. And there's this article I read once by Lenore Thompson. I'll try and see if I can find it. It talks about how NJs and time can be kind of hard. The whole concept of time is kind of an interesting one. So for me, I will often have a hard time not knowing how long it will take to do something, how long it will take to get somewhere. Compared to me and a P, I am not late to meetings because I don't value the person or because I'm not trying. I am often late as an NFJ because I'm not great at guesstimating how long it's going to take to either get ready or to get somewhere, and I always end up very disgruntled, oh my gosh, that took more time than I thought, or that took less time than I thought. So I'm just really not great at sticking to those sort of things. So the next question is, being right is more important than being cooperative when it comes to teamwork. Whew. I'm gonna go with slightly disagree. I care about being cooperative, but at the same time, I really don't want to compromise what I think is right if it is very important. There are some times though where it doesn't really matter who's right as long as you're getting the job done. And being cooperative is always, you know, really important to me. But at the same time, I'm not going to just do something that's wrong for the sake of teamwork. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, in many scenarios, there are many ways to skin a cat, you know. There is no one right way. And whenever in those scenarios, there isn't just one right way, I'm more than happy to cooperate. But if there is a scenario where it's like, I really think that, like, you're wrong, then that's hard. I have a hard time keeping my mouth shut because I feel like, you know, I want everyone to succeed. I want everyone to be happy. I'm not going to let something just slip through the cracks. I could be very perfectionistic about that stuff. All right, the next question is, you think that everyone's views should be respected regardless of whether or not they are supported by facts. So, this question, I'm going to have to disagree. In the middle of disagree. Actually, I'm just going to say one disagree. Because here's the thing. I respect people. I don't always respect views. And that is just like a little nitpicky thing that I see with this, is that no matter what someone believes, I'm always going to respect them as a person. But if I think that their view is, you know, problematic, I'm not going to respect the view. Like, I really don't like the fallacy of, like, you know, trying to pretend like every view is equal when it's not. There's some that are beneficial for society and some that aren't. And I am not great at, no, I'm going to do middle disagree. I really don't, I have a hard time supporting, you know, views that are different from mine if I think that they're problematic. And I don't know. So the next question is, you feel more energetic after spending time with a group of people. I'm going to say slightly agree. Yes, I am an extrovert. I feel like I gain energy from people, but at the same time, it really depends on what type of people. I can be very picky about people, and a lot of times I feel drained after spending time with people. So yeah, I'm a hashtag ambivert, except for that I'm not, because that is not real. Okay, the next question, you frequently misplace your things. I'm going to go with slightly agree. I always have been kind of this way, but it has changed a little as I've gotten older. Like, I feel like whenever I live in my own space, it's way easier to keep track of some things. But yeah, like, I don't have a great memory in that regard, so I'm going to say agree. And then I think this is the last. Okay, this question I freaking hate. You see yourself as emotionally stable. I'm going to go ahead and say all the way agree. And you know what? Yes, I'm an emotional person, but I'm also stable because I personally know how to ride the waves of an emotion. That is one of the great things that ENFJs can do, and, you know, a lot of feelers can do. And again, this question is very biased against feelers because it's almost like equating being a feeler with stability, and that has nothing to do with it. There are a lot of thinkers that are emotionally unstable. So, but also I would say thinkers are more likely to, you know, act like they're more stable than they actually are. And, you know, a lot of feelers might say disagree here because they have been told by people that they are unstable or that they are dramatic most of their lives, and maybe a lot of them don't have a strong opinion or like a correct opinion about how they actually are, because feelers have a tendency to, you know, not really know what they think and just put on what other people's thoughts are of them on themselves. And so I can definitely imagine a lot of feelers being incorrect about this too, and thinking like, oh, well, everyone always says I'm emotional, so, you know, but I'm here to tell you, like, think about that. You might not be. Okay, the next question is, your mind is always buzzing with unexplored ideas and plans. Absolutely agree. I, like, literally cannot keep up with all of the creative, like, ideas I have, and it can be overwhelming sometimes. This next question, you would not call yourself a dreamer. I'm gonna all the way say disagree. I do call myself a dreamer. The next question, you find it difficult to relax when talking in front of many people. I'm gonna say disagree. I like public speaking, and as long as I know what I'm saying, I'm probably gonna be relaxed doing that. Next question, Generally speaking, you rely more on your experience than your imagination. I'm going to say disagree in the middle, because I don't know, I'm going to just say slightly disagree, because I really do try and balance experience and imagination, and you know, I really like to visualize how things might go based on my experience. So anyway, the next question, you worry too much about what other people think. I'm gonna go with slightly agree, although later on, like earlier on in my life, I would have gone with all the way agree. I definitely think that me as an ENFJ, I have a tendency toward this, but I also I think that trait, I don't really like the way it's written. You worry too much about what people think, because what is too much? And also, this trait in me has evolved to now thinking about other people's needs and trying to incorporate them as my own. There are unhealthy ways of being this. The trait is just thinking about others. Worrying about what people think of you and taking it personally, that's like a really unhealthy ENFJ trait. But when ENFJs grow, they pretty much, that trait evolves from being paranoid about what people think to now knowing what people think and incorporating it into what you do and trying to come up with a solution that's going to help everyone. Okay, these are the last few questions. This next question is, if the room is full, you stay closer to the walls, avoiding the center. I'm going to all the way disagree with that. I have no problem sitting in the front row, anything like that. So this question is, you have a tendency to procrastinate until there's not enough time to do everything. I'm going to slightly agree, because at least in my life, I want to maximize my time. And so I don't ever want to feel like I have to do something. I don't really feel like called to do something unless I really feel like it's time, if that makes sense. And so a lot of times in my life that has led to me procrastinating. The next question, you feel very anxious in stressful situations. I don't know what that means. Who doesn't feel anxious in stressful situations? What does that even mean? Like, anxiety means that you feel stressed. If you don't feel anxious, then maybe you just don't regard that situation as a stressful situation. What is a stressful situation? Everyone views it differently. I don't know what this means. And so I'm going to say medium. I'm going to not answer that one. Okay, this next question. You believe that it is more rewarding to be liked by others than to be powerful. I'm going to say slightly agree, but I also want to be powerful, and also you kind of need both. You aren't really going to be that powerful if you aren't liked by others, in my opinion. Again, I don't like these either ors. I would prefer it if it was worded if you had to choose one, which one would you choose? Now I at least know that it's a hypothetical scenario, but sometimes it makes it seem like that people in life choose between these things that they don't have to choose between. Okay, 2 more questions. 1, you've always been interested in unconventional and ambiguous things. Example, books, arts, or movies. What is an ambiguous thing? What does that even mean? I know that this is trying to ask if I'm an intuitive, and so, you know what, fuck you, I'm gonna say agree. But, oh my god, censors also art and movies, come on. What does that even mean, ambiguous things? So I'm just gonna, that's all of my thoughts on that. This last question is, you take initiative in social situations. I'm gonna all the way say agree, because I absolutely do. Now it's time to see my results. Oh wow, I got ENFP. That's funny, because almost every ENFJ I know gets this. I got 76% extroverted, 24% introverted, 73% intuitive, 27% observant, this says, 36% thinking and 64% feeling, 24% judging, and 76% prospecting. And for those who want to know, whatever this test asks for either assertive or turbulent, and I got assertive, I got 61% assertive. So yeah, my hot take is that all of these JP questions are pretty much asking if you use SI or NE, and in my opinion, NI and SE were nowhere to be found. So all of the questions would be like, do you slightly prefer NE or SI? And I would be like, I guess I slightly prefer NE. Do you want to be adaptable with NE, or do you want to be following a rigid SI plan? Well, no, I hate SI plans, and so I guess if you're asking the question, I slightly prefer improvising with NE, but what I really like to do is have a mission statement, have a vision statement, have it everywhere on my wall, know exactly where I'm going, and hit that bullseye in whatever way I have to. Whenever the situation in the SE changes, I'm going to, you know, do what I need to do to get that vision. That's what NJs do, and you know what? Fuck this test. Those are my thoughts. If you would like to talk about personality more with me, join my Facebook group, Personality Typology for Self-Growth. I also recently just started a new Facebook group about astrology and Myers-Briggs that I will link that below as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed my roast. I hate this test, so have a wonderful day.